Hi everyone, Brian Amrine, Value Driven Analytics here. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how you can become an informal or a formal leader in the analytics space. Now, I'll be honest, we have a shortage of analytics leaders. We have plenty of people who are willing to become an analytics manager, but there's a shortage of analytics leaders. And so if you're willing to be an analytics leader, then keep watching because we need more of you. So let's start with defining what an analytics leader is. An analytics leader is someone, and a leader in general, is someone who proactively identifies and pursues and organizes initiatives that will help an organization. That is a leader in an organizational context. And so if you're in the analytics field and you want to do that from an analytics perspective, you want to proactively identify, pursue, and organize people around an initiative that relates to analytics. Now, when you want to become a formal leader, someone who manages people, it is so important to have a true passion for that. Please, if you are only wanting to become an analytics leader because typically it comes with higher compensation, which it certainly does, there's other routes for that. When someone pursues becoming an analytics leader just for the money, typically they do it in a way that doesn't benefit the people that they lead as much as a person who is truly passionate about becoming an analytics leader because they want to help people. And they want to help people in a way that results in success for their organization. So if you have that true desire to help people, to pour into analyst development, please keep watching and follow these tips because we need more true analytics leaders who actually want to develop and help the analysts that are part of their team. So how can you do that? Well, first of all, before as a foundation to the rest of the things that we're going to talk about, you need to learn to become extremely efficient, or at least as efficient as possible. And there's so many ways you can do that. That's a video in itself, but looking for ways to create reusable assets for the task that you're frequently given that can speed those up is a great way to start. Learning efficient tools, coding tools like SQL and Python. Perhaps you're doing a lot in Excel or things manually today. Finding ways to automate that in the long run is going to give you a much higher level of efficiency. Now, this is going to sound ambitious, but I truly believe that it's possible, and I've seen that it's possible, to take your regular request that you spend maybe 40 hours, perhaps even more per week doing, and actually through efficiency techniques, get that down to maybe 20 hours a week. I know it sounds ambitious, but over time, it certainly doesn't happen overnight, by learning more automation tools, by creating more and more reusable assets, thinking about what are the regular tasks that I'm spending most of my time on and finding ways to either partially or completely automate those with reusable assets, you can get there. And imagine what that would be like, having 20 hours a week that you spend on those regular requests, your day job, and having the remaining 20 hours to essentially do whatever you think would benefit the company the most with. You could spend those 20 hours on learning more coding techniques, more efficiency techniques, creating more reusable assets that just make you even more efficient. It's almost a snowball effect. The more free time you create, the more time you have to make yourself even more efficient. And before you know it, maybe you can even do your regular job in less than 20 hours. But that's really important to focus on efficiency, because some of the other ways that you could spend that 20 hours that you freed up per week are leadership initiatives and proactive analysis. And that's the next technique. So once you've become very efficient, the next step is to start identifying proactive analyses that you can do. I've got some time. Let me spend it on some analyses. Now, this is something that can really differentiate you. I've heard from a lot of stakeholders that a lot of the analysts they've worked with wait to be told what project to work on. And certainly we should prioritize projects that are important to our stakeholders and work with them to understand and work together on which are the projects that are going to have the highest value and prioritize those. Prioritization techniques, it's a video in itself. But not just being an analyst that takes orders, that takes those requests, but also being an analyst that maybe recommends things. You're asking your business stakeholders questions about what are the things that keep you up at night? What are the biggest challenges you're facing right now? And you're able to recommend an analysis that can help them in that area. That is going to differentiate you with your stakeholders. That's a leadership technique, right? You're not just doing the things that are being asked, but you're actually looking for ways to contribute to the company using your analytics skills. That's really impressive. And it's important because, a lot of our stakeholders are not technical. They don't know what's possible. They don't know everything that's possible with data. And so as an analyst that's maybe been at a few companies, been in a few industries, worked in a few functional areas, even just talking to your analytics friends, you're going to have maybe a bigger picture of what's possible with analytics. So when you hear those challenges, you might be able to come up with some ideas of how to apply analytics in a really high value way. Some of your non-technical stakeholders may not have even known that was possible with analytics. So look for ways to proactively pursue analyses. Then another technique, another thing that you can proactively do with those 20 hours or so that you've hopefully freed up is to pursue proactive initiatives at your company. And certainly initiatives in the analytics space would make a lot of sense as an analyst, but feel free to keep it wide open. If you see an opportunity at your organization, that's great. Identifying opportunities is number one, but then proactively pursuing those and maybe even organizing a team around those, that is really gonna, hopefully help your organization. The more you do that and the better you do that, where you're not just pursuing something and then it falls apart, it doesn't have any value, but you're identifying a true need and you're proactively pursuing it in a way that actually does end up helping your organization, having some true results. The more you do that, people are gonna start paying attention. And it's gonna open up some career opportunities for you as you build your brand at your organization as a leader. So the more opportunities you have, the more times you proactively identify and pursue opportunities to help your organization, whether it's in analytics or not, your organization is gonna start paying attention and they're gonna see you as an informal leader, but maybe eventually that could lead to some formal leadership opportunities. Now, it doesn't have to be in the analytics space, but a few ways that you could perhaps do this in the analytics space. One way is to organize analysts together. Sometimes an organization can have multiple analytics teams and they're operating in silos, and perhaps an opportunity for you is to bring them together. There may be an online forum that you could create. Maybe you used a team, just a simple Teams chat to bring all these analysts together so they have a place where they can ask questions. Maybe you organize something more formal, like a monthly analysis meeting where analysts come together from different groups and present a technique. That's a great way for other analysts to learn new methods that could perhaps apply to their area. A finance analyst hears something that a sales analyst did and they say, wow, that's a neat technique. I could probably use that in a finance project I'm working on, or vice versa. So monthly analysis meetings, if that's not happening today, maybe that's your opportunity to start that. And if you do that really well, perhaps you'll build your brand as an analytics leader. Maybe there's an opportunity to create a mentorship program. Maybe there's some aspiring analysts at your organization that would love to get into an analytics career, but they need some help. And a great way to start would be maybe take an analytics project in the area that they work and work with a more experienced analyst to guide them through that. Well, that's a good opportunity for a mentorship program. And if your organization doesn't have an analytics mentorship program, maybe you could be the one to lead that. Perhaps in your 20 hours of free time that you freed up, you've been learning some new analytics techniques that a lot of people at your organization aren't familiar with. Well, if it was really helpful for you, perhaps it could be really helpful for analysts in other areas too. Maybe you've learned SQL or Python or data science, or maybe you just have some communication or efficiency techniques that you feel like could help other analysts. Why not lead a proactive training for anybody at your organization to learn those skills? Pretty soon you'll be seen as a leader in the analytics space, because that's what you're doing. You're proactively initiating and organizing people to do something that's going to help the organization. It's going to help them become more efficient or more flexible, more able to address opportunities with analytics. So that's just a sampling of the different things that you could do to help your organization. Now, the best analytics leadership initiatives and beyond, the best proactive initiatives are the ones that you identify and come up with yourself. So maybe some of these ideas resonate with you, but I'll tell you what, if you identify something that you're passionate about, boy, that passion will drive you hopefully to come up with a really robust solution and motivate you to do what needs to be done to see results from that and actually help your organization. So start that brainstorming process now. Well, once you've done some of these things, you've been proactively not just working on the projects that are given to you, but proactively identifying projects and pursuing them, and even proactively leading some initiatives at your organization. Now it's time to perhaps have a conversation with your manager and let your manager know that you're interested at some point in becoming an analytics leader. Now, it's good to be patient. There's not always opportunities available. And so that's kind of usually something that has to come up in order for you to be considered for it. But when an opportunity does come up to be a formal analytics leader, you want to have created that, established that brand as a leader, so that when it does come up, they're thinking about you for it. But it's also important to let your analytics, your leadership know that you're interested in eventually becoming a formal analytics leader. I wish that every manager would have frequent, proactive conversations with every one of their employees about what their goals are, so that you wouldn't even need to bring it up, right? You'd already had conversations, and your manager would have asked you and said, have you ever thought about being a people leader someday? Or are you interested in more growing on the technical side and the individual contributor side? What's your passion? The reality is there are some managers that really care a lot about your development. They're going to be asking those questions on a regular basis, but there's some managers that will never bring that up. But if you let your manager know proactively that that's a goal of yours eventually, now they know, and they could be looking for opportunities for that in the future. So start with being efficient as possible by creating reusable assets and learning efficient analytic skills like Python, SQL, and so forth, automating everything that's possible, working on proactive analysis, looking for opportunities to proactively lead initiatives at your organization, and letting your organization, your manager, know that you're interested in becoming a formal people leader, a formal leader at your organization. Those are 4 things that I would recommend in order to help you become a formal people leader. So I am rooting for you to become that formal people leader that can help others develop and perhaps become people leaders themselves if that's their goal. I want to thank you for watching today. I hope you got a lot out of it. And if you did, please consider liking the video and subscribing if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. Now, if you have any questions about what we covered, please consider leaving a comment, and I'll try to respond to it as soon as I can. One last thing, if you or your organization ever need anything analytics related, an analysis, a dashboard build, maybe a data science model build, perhaps deeper training on this very topic or other analytics topics, even a complete analytics transformation, please consider Value Driven Analytics. Check out our site at valuedrivenanalytics.com, and if it resonates with you, give us a call. We'd love to help you out.